think another place where you do sort of see this U.S. attitude is in the Pacific Island nations. The U.S. has definitely dropped the ball there. And I know President Modi is headed to Papua New Guinea soon to meet with the government there and host a meeting between India and other leaders of the Pacific Island nations. Why do you think that meeting is happening? What role would India like to play in the Pacific?
Look, first of all, I'd like to say that given the fact that Joe Biden is considered in Asia as essentially a European on the wrong side of the Atlantic Ocean, let's be honest and let's be real. Let's talk frankly. You know what I like about being in America. Once people understand me and understand where I'm coming from, which is a strong proponent of a strong democratic alliance between the United States and India, well, they can take hard facts as mentioned, as given by me. They gave me hard facts on Ukraine. I gave them hard facts back. And now most of them are now agreeing with my hard facts and discarding theirs. But the fact of the matter is, our relationship with them is entirely different from the relationship of Australia, New Zealand, and US on them. Australia and New Zealand, particularly, they have gone there as members of a superior civilization, as members of a superior economy, as members of, essentially a better class of people. Now, I don't believe in caste at all. I think any notion of inferiority and superiority is absurd. I believe we are all equal, that if you look at this pen, it's horizontal. That means we are all different but equal. It's not vertical. Somebody high, somebody low, somebody in the middle. So the fact is, our chemistry is different. And you have people in the United States, in your think tanks, in your politicians, in European think tanks, in the politicians. They've gone so wrong in forecasting what's going to happen in Ukraine. I know their forecast because they told me that. And they said that publicly. And now these same guys, quite frankly, it's not enough to know Chinese. It's not enough to visit China dozens of times. I have, by the way, visited China dozens of times. It's a different matter. But the fact is that you have to understand the chemistry. Let's be honest. This is Asia. Chemistry counts for a lot more than mechanics. Mechanics is learning a language. Mechanics is learning by rote the history over the last 1,000 or 2,000 years down to the to each century. But chemistry is a connect with people. And there are Americans, there are Europeans who have that connect, quite frank. In my own case, I'd like to say my geopolitical theories have gone mainstream outside my country, even in the West, because I've had Western people. I've had Western people who liked what I had to say, and they've given me massive assistance. In fact, I'd like to thank, some of them appeared on your platform. At least one of them I know has appeared on your platform. I'm very happy about that because they know I'm a friend of the West. But the problem with the United States has always been you can't, if you want to show, you show that you're a friend of the United States. Wear it in a placard around your neck. I love Uncle Sam. For God's sake, the minute you do that, you're degrading yourself back home and you're ceasing to have any value as a friend. Be a friend in deed, not a friend in need. As far as words are concerned, we are getting 3-4 times the good words that we're getting. But the good thing about Biden, he didn't fall into that trap, set by some of these regime change, Victoria Nuland kind of people, and have sanctions on India for buying Russian oil and the S-400. Today, we are the huge buyers of Russian oil. There's no sanctions from the United States, quite frankly. And that is a great boon to us. And that, I think, shows that Biden has got people in his White House, in his establishment, who do not really act as though America is a part of Europe or that it's only Europe that matters. That was the case, yes, 120, 130 years ago. It's not the case now. So let me be frank. There is a lot of good happening, but it's about 30% of what is needed if you're really looking at a war with China. And I believe that war is inevitable. I think your platform shares that view. I have that different view, from people in the West who say, no, 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 they got too much to lose, too much to risk. Well, so did Prussia, so did Germany, and they went into war because they had some illusions. Today, I can tell you, many Taiwanese do not believe the Americans will seriously jeopardize their relationship with China. They believe there'll be some nominal sanctions or something, a little bit here and there. But in terms of assistance? No. And I again repeat, you're giving them one-fifth the medication needed to come back to fighting fit form. One-fifth the medication, three-fifths the medication, nine-tenths the medication is not enough. You're giving Ukraine 200% the medication they need, and you're giving Taiwan one-fifth. You're giving India about a fifth. So I'm not saying you're doing nothing. You're not doing enough because you are assuming in your mind only Europe counts, and the Chinese can be dealt with. They can be, they can be taught not to create a problem. And every now and then they throw this tidbit, some meeting with a foreign minister, some smile from Xi Jinping, some UNGA resolution. Ah, look, 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 the Chinese aren't going to fight. They will fight when they're convinced NATO will not fight. They will fight when they are convinced Japan will not get involved in logistics. They will fight when they are convinced India will not activate its northern border. They will fight and they are working hard to achieve these objectives. They're not succeeding very well in India. Our Prime Minister is pretty clear sighted. I suspect they're succeeding a lot more. In the UK, for example, do you know that the United Kingdom, your good friend, you have AUKUS. You didn't invite us into AUKUS. We don't need it because we have got nuclear submarines, but you didn't invite us. That's a different matter. We are not there. We're not invited to your party. But the fact of the matter is that the UK no longer talks of the Indo-Pacific. You look at James Cleverly. Look at all the Foreign Office statements. It's all Pacific, Pacific, Pacific. Why? To pacify China. And James Cleverly has said openly we want to reach out to China. And one of the ways of reaching out, the Chinese hate the word Indo Pacific. They're allergic to the word India because we are the only country that has the size to seriously challenge them and upset their apple cart in Asia. We could do it much easier if the United States were on the same page, but we can still do it, but much more with a lot more effort. But that's why they hate us. That's why they hate the word Indo Pacific. And guess who dropped the word Indo Pacific? The British, those great friends of the United States, that the members of NATO, AUKUS partners, they are the ones who have today dropped officially any mention of Indo Pacific for fear that Xi Jinping's tender sensibilities will be offended if that happens.
Well, we know how sensitive Xi Jinping is. He doesn't even like to be compared to Winnie the Pooh, which is so it's surprising that honeyed words don't work on Xi Jinping, actually.
Look, let's be honest. The Chinese are openly, under Xi Jinping, what they have been for a long time, which is they are looking at real issues. And since Narendra Modi came to power in India, India has also started looking at real issues, which is why, frankly, India post 2014 is a problem for China. We are very clear-sighted about the Chinese. Xi Jinping, one thing about the communist, the CCP, Xi Jinping has made it transparent. We want to take over from the United States. We have mastered the Eurasian landmass with the help now of our, I don't know what we call a captive partner, the Russians, captive by, frankly, a lot has to do with Western diplomacy. But, he has already taken over the South China Sea. He wants to take over the Malacca Straits. He wants now to move into the East China Sea. He's doing that by slices of salami that are large or small. And above all, each time salami is tossed, some symbolic gesture is passed on to the West. And today, you guys have become what we were in the 50s, 60s, even the 70s. Don't forget, in 72, we signed an agreement in Shimla in which we gave back 93,000 Pakistani POWs without any of them being cashiered for war crimes. And we gave back territory that we took without any substantiation of Kashmir being ours. So that we used to believe in honeyed words from Pakistan, from the West. Today, I can tell you, we don't. And I can assure you, Xi Jinping does not believe in those words. And for him, he wants a situation where it is safe for him to make sure that if he attacks Philippines or Vietnam or India, the US can do very little and will do very little. And in the meantime, the US does not train with India, does not look into Vietnam, does not look into Philippines, does not look into Japan. In other words, he wants the United States to be removed from the equation completely. And that's why he's reacting to, and on the excuse of, he can't say that openly, Because China is a peace-loving country. The CCP is the most peace-loving party in the whole world. I mean, they have never, oppressed anybody. You just ask the people in Xinjiang and you'll see how free of oppression they are. But the reality is, let's be blunt, let's be real again. The reality is, today is the Western world that is being deluded by fantasies, that's being deluded by honeyed language. And I think, frankly, it's a very dangerous situation. We were in extreme danger because of that fantasy, believing in fantasies, believing in nursery rhymes. Now you guys are in that thing. And one of the nursery rhymes is Ukraine matters more than Taiwan. Europe matters more than Asia. These Russia matters more than China. These are fantasies.